Good morning, Jasline.
Yeah, so I'm super excited, because you said you have interesting SA2 paper to share with our parents, right?
Yes, indeed. I just received this paper yesterday.
Wow.
Are you able to see the screen here?
Yes, very clear, very good.
Okay, very good. Because this paper actually is quite a tough paper. So one of my key objectives here is to tell parents that do not be discouraged if your child did not do so well, because maybe the paper is quite difficult. So how do you know it's difficult? So there's one way, maybe you can keep in touch with me. You scan over the paper. I will help you to analyze. And then secondly, you take note, actually for the science paper, right, 1 hour 45 minutes is actually quite tough. Okay, from my experience, I believe that there are about 15 to 20% of pupils in most schools, they cannot complete this paper comfortably within the stipulated time, which is 105 minutes. Yeah. So I've generically named this student Ryan to protect his identity. Okay. So today I want to teach you about time management. And if your child has some special needs, right, you can actually appeal to MOE in time, like way before the exam, to get your child assessed whether the child needs extra time. Because I see that some children, they actually got special needs, but if they are forced to complete 1 hour 45 minutes, they are being disadvantaged. Yeah, because some students, they got some learning difficulties, and through some professional assessment and a letter, they can actually appeal to the SEAB for extra timing between like as much as half an hour to 45 minutes extra. Yeah.
All right. Yes, I think it's a focus issue as well as some people just drift off, some students and halfway through the paper. Yeah.
So today I'd like to share with you this question here. You can see in question 7, this is the MCQ. So they have a lungs, heart, other parts of the body. So there's a graph below here, which actually asks you, based on the graph, which of the blood sample was taken from vessel S. As you can see, vessel S is here, right? It's actually from other parts of the body.
Yes.
And the student will know that, because since the blood will flow to other parts of the body, the amount of oxygen will be low. But usually the student, if he didn't read carefully, he will choose the lowest one, which is C, right? Yes, but actually the answer is not C. Because you see, the heart is also an organ. So even the oxygenated blood goes through the heart is an organ. It needs to extract the oxygen for respiration. So for this part, right, the amount of oxygen in S, right, is actually slightly higher than R. Because at R, it already flow through the heart. So for this question, right, this part will be the answer for D. Okay, the second highest. The second lowest, this part. Because C will be for at R. And then for parents, right, as you may be teaching your own children, you can actually ask your child, right, this additional question. Give a reason for your answer, which you have paid attention earlier. I already told you, right? If this appears in a section B question, why you choose D? Because the blood vessels, right, that flow through other parts of the body, the oxygen at S is still higher than R, because the heart is an organ, it still uses oxygen. Yeah. So I said these questions can be modified to an open-ended questions. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the next one is page 16, which I'd like to share with you another questions on this exam paper here. Okay.
19.
So you can see, right, this question actually tests the child understanding of the 4 factors involved in rate of evaporation, ROE. So you can see here that actually the student annotated this one very well. And they are actually asked which of the following correctly shows the order of beaker. So we know that the 4 factors are temperature, right? Presence of wind, humidity, and exposed surface area.
Right.
So exposed surface area are all the same.
Same. Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Temperature also got different. Yes. Temperature different.
So actually in this example, the highest one is beaker B, right? And wind is present. So this will evaporate the fastest. Correct?
Yes.
So amount of water left will be the lowest. So the child should see the lowest one, B, right?
B, yes.
So by identifying this, you will narrow down the choices. It's either 2 or 4. Yes. 2 or 4, right? Then you choose the other one, the slowest one. So temperature lowest is 22, right?
Yes.
And not present. So A has the highest amount. So answer is option 2.
Correct.
Yeah, so this is a fast method. Yeah, because bear in mind they have to finish the 28 questions. Ideally, I give them the timing is 45 minutes. So they still have 1 hour to complete section B. Yeah.
Great.
So the next question is go to page 23. Which like to scroll to you to. Okay, this question is a bit. I find. Okay, this question.
Set 1 to 2.
Yes, this is the set 1 and 2 questions, which I think should not be tested in PSLE. Okay, because you see here, they say this lamp, right? The carries setup and EVA setup. So they say when the lamps were brighter, they give out more heat. Carrie find out that EVA setup was hotter. So this one is hotter, right? That means this one produced more heat. And the child got to identify, you can see actually this child is quite frustrated. Because I scanned his actual paper. I asked him yesterday, hey, why you do all these things? He said, I was very angry. I was very angry with the question.
Actually,
because the child also know this is not, actually it's not a PSLE, they never taught. So this one is too complicated. So parents out there, sometimes I do not know, some schools they set paper too difficult. I don't know, they maybe want to test only the top 5%, but the other 95% get very angry.
So obviously he didn't get it right.
Yeah, so I wrote, the student was angry. Yeah, he didn't get it right. Yeah. So I teach him the method, but I told him don't worry because this one will not be tested in PSLE.
Okay.
So you see the circuit diagram is very complicated.
Correct.
Yeah.
Usually 1 or 2 bulbs and batteries.
And then actually the parent told me this child, because he was not careful, so you notice from question 5, he got continuously wrong because he transfer error.
Oh my
God. He know the answer in the paper, but he transferred wrongly to the optical answer sheet. So parents do remind your child to be careful in making transfer error because the exam will only mark this part. Okay, the computer, the optical answer machine will only mark this part.
Just leave some time for checking. It's very important.
Yes. But he did relatively well for section B. So actually the child told me, Mr. Yu, I score better in section B than in section A. Yeah, which is actually quite rare. Normally the section A is to help to pull up the marks for section B. Yeah, so
he's
this
done
one,
well in your coaching.
Oh, this is a new student.
This is a new student. Still pretty well, 30, 144.
And then another thing, when I help the parent to analyze, I told the parent, hey, this question is not fair. That's why I put the word deliberate sabotage the child.
Oh my God.
Okay, why is it so? You see here, because the variables in this chart, right, and the result, they are on a different page. So I mentioned her this remark here. If the table and the bar graphs are on the same page, it will be easier to see the relationship and answer correctly. So what you can learn here, 考场如战场, the examination field is a battlefield. So I teach them the countermeasure. Like they fire the heat-seeking missile, launch the flare, right? So the countermeasure, if you can, you copy this graph next to the table. Because table more difficult to copy.
Correct.
Because, and this is ascending order. So
not
it's
too difficult,
the alphabet P, Q, R, S.
Then
so
leave.
The child, you transfer this to this page, it's easier to answer the question. Yeah. So the order, he get it correct. But this part, he gets 0 mark. Okay. Yeah, this question is actually quite simple. As you know that the lower surface, right, of the most land plants has more stomata. So you can see here, right? Actually, if you compare the result, right, they use which leaf. Okay, he didn't mention use which leaf.
Which part?
To determine whether there are more openings on the upper or lower. So you must choose Q and R that you can compare. Okay, so can you see Q? The upper surface is coated and lower surface is not, right? Not means more water vapor will escape. So we expect the mass of Q should be lower than R. Q lower than R. Can you see? Yeah, this part.
Okay.
So it validates that. Yeah, it validates that. So Q, the mass of Q is less than R because Q, the lower surface has more stomata, it's not coated, more water vapor will be lost. Yeah, so this one you can learn this skill. Yeah, definitely. I hope parents.
I also learn. You also learn. But he's very neat, his handwriting. I must say, handwriting.
His handwriting is very neat.
It's very
I told
important.
the parent, I was quite
Very
impressed with the
important.
child's handwriting. It's
Correct,
very neat.
correct. Especially for boys, that's why one of the things as a coach is handwriting is very important,
Yeah, handwriting is right.
And
So there's
also,
something-
actually, maybe something you can add is that he should also underline or highlight certain keywords in the questions, so he can also catch the important one. Yeah.
Yes. So I finished my sharing today about this case study.
Thank you.
Yeah, it will encourage parents because some schools actually they set quite tough paper. So the
that's
paper
right.
that we have just analyzed is actually quite tough.
That's right. But we must always be prepared. So we must learn the strategies from Mr. Yi how to score better, because it's a skill. Because once you do well in the skills of open-ended question in secondary school, you also need to answer. There's no more MCQ already. Very few. I think there is. There's express stream. I think there is, right? There is. So, but still important is the open-ended question skills. Yeah, you need to learn.
Thank you very much.